Welcome to this first week of the course on designing climate-neutral building and transport systems. My name is Mirjam Harmelink and I am your teacher for this week. In this week, we will dive into the energy consumption and CO2 emissions linked to heating and cooling of buildings we use and live in, and you will learn about options and their costs to reduce these CO2 emissions. In this first video, I will give you some insight on the significance of energy consumption for heating and cooling in buildings and on some trends observed around the world. Let's first look into the global final energy consumption per sector between 1990 and 2018. This graph shows that in almost 3 decades, the total energy consumption increased by almost 60%. The largest rise in energy consumption can be observed with transport and commercial and public services, which have experienced an increase of nearly 80%. Energy consumption in industry increased by almost 60% and usage in the residential sector by 40%. This results in a share of almost 30% in global final energy consumption for buildings, which includes the residential and commercial sectors. Now let's investigate the activities responsible for energy consumption in the building sector. In 2017, about 30% of final energy consumption in buildings worldwide was used for space heating, 29% for cooking, 23% for water heating, 12% for appliances, 3% for lighting, and finally 3% for space cooling. Thus one can observe that the largest part of final energy consumption in buildings is used for space heating, cooking, and heating water. There are 2 important points you need to remember. The presented numbers represent the global level. When diving deeper into different world regions or individual countries, you will notice that the shares for the various activities can be very different. For example, the share for cooking is much lower in Europe where final energy consumption in buildings is dominated by space heating. Whereas in Southeast Asia and Latin America, energy use for cooking is dominant in final energy consumption for buildings. Furthermore, you need to keep in mind that we are talking about final energy consumption. Shares are different when we investigate total energy supply, in which case conversion losses outside the building are considered, such as the losses when producing electricity. Now let's dive a bit deeper into the energy performance of buildings. This figure demonstrates the final energy consumption for space heating and hot water production per square meter in different world regions over the period 2000-2018. What can be observed is that final energy consumption per square meter declined over the past 2 decades in almost all world regions. For example, in Eurasia it decreased by almost 36%, and in the European Union by almost 28%. This decline is resulting from energy-saving measures that have been implemented in buildings, like insulation and also more efficient installations, resulting in a lower energy consumption, and from old buildings being demolished and replaced by new buildings, which are more energy efficient. The second trend that can be observed is that the share of energy consumption for space cooling is increasing and, according to the International Energy Agency, is expected to increase in the coming decades. This picture shows the global stock of air conditioners from 1990 to 2016, which shows that the stock almost tripled. When households' incomes rise and population grows, especially in the world hotter regions, the use of air conditioners is becoming increasingly more common. Thanks for watching this video, and in the next video we will dive into the energy balance of buildings.